Good afternoon, everyone. This is Attorney Jennifer Ha coming to you live from our offices here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Thank you so much for joining me on this segment here today. It is part of our new initiative to be able to answer questions with clients more efficiently, because I know that when you start to think about legal issues, it becomes a very stressful matter for a lot of people. And so being able to answer your questions through a web interface such as Facebook is something that we love being able to bring to you. So just to give you a little bit of background about myself and the law firm that I'm connecting to you from today. My name is Jennifer Ha, and I'm the founding partner of JLJ Law Group. And we are an office located in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we practice primarily bankruptcy, immigration, divorce, and criminal law. And unfortunately, a lot of those areas are interconnected. And so each week we'll be tackling a different topic. So if you or someone that you know has certain questions, you can send me an email at ask@jljlawgroup.com, and then we can use that information for upcoming show topics. Or you can send me a direct Facebook message and I can get back with you on the answers, or use that information as a show topic for next week. Now, it's going to be a very informal format, and it's going to be a way for us to connect so that you get the answers that you need without having to go into an office immediately. I know that when you're thinking about a bankruptcy or a divorce, a lot of you are Googling online to try and find the answers that you need. And sometimes a lot of the information that you find is not accurate. So our goal is to provide you with live, real-time attorney interface so that you could ask the questions as we go. So I know that this Facebook has the capability for you to post your questions, so please do, and we'll be happy to answer them. So let's go ahead and get started into today's topic. Today's topic is, how rich people file bankruptcy and stay rich, and how you too can benefit from this strategy. Now, I know that I'm talking about a very taboo topic, bankruptcy. It's very scary for a lot of people because, we've been taught and to believe that, we should pay our debts, that we're responsible for any of the liabilities that we incur. But the reason why the Bankruptcy Code was developed is to give people a break when they have incurred more liabilities than their income is able to pay off. So it's a strategy that a lot of wealthy people use to their advantage so that they can continue to maintain their assets and reduce their liabilities. So let's talk about some of the reasons why wealthy people choose to file bankruptcy, and some of the rules that surround a bankruptcy proceeding. For a lot of big business owners, like you see, our very own Republican nominee, Donald Trump, he's famous for filing bankruptcy on numerous occasions, yet he's still a millionaire, billionaire perhaps. But why is it that they're still able to maintain all of their assets, live a pretty good lifestyle despite being virtually insolvent? Reason number one is that bankruptcy is used as a strategic move to restructure bad contracts. So in a bankruptcy, you are given the ability to basically rewrite a contract that you are no longer happy with the terms. This is especially important for maybe small business owners. When we think about larger scale airlines or hotel chains, things like that, oftentimes they get themselves into contracts that are not very good contracts, and so they want to get a better deal out of the contracts so they can use the bankruptcy court and the bankruptcy code to restructure the deal. Maybe their lease payment is too high, maybe the size of their building is too large, maybe they have entered into contracts that they have been completely unprofitable on and they want to get rid of it. So using a bankruptcy to get rid of those contracts or to rewrite those agreements is an awesome way to get better terms, make better money out of the contract, and still come out ahead. So how does this apply to you and I? For example, a lot of people come to my office and they ask, what are the type of contracts that I can restructure? If you have entered into a gym membership, a cell phone agreement, a lease contract, maybe you're a small business owner and you have a lease that you really want to get out of, that is something that can help you when you use the Bankruptcy Code. So think about that in terms of considering bankruptcy. The other issue is in a bankruptcy, oftentimes it's an opportunity to surrender bad assets. For example, a lot of people, investors primarily, will purchase assets such as real estate, land, other developments that are no longer generating income. That golf course, that resort that seemed like a good idea in the first place is no longer generating the revenue that's needed in order to cover overhead. So rather than letting themselves continue to bleed on and on, these large business owners, these wealthy millionaires, are choosing to file bankruptcy so that they can get rid of these assets from their portfolio and no longer have to incur this liability. So for the average person like you and I, those are some things that we can consider as well. A lot of people may have purchased vehicles that they're upside down on, or homes that they are upside down on, and they no longer want to remit payments on those items. The use of a bankruptcy to get out of those bad deals is something that we strategically employ all the time so that we can get people into better terms. It almost seems very counterintuitive that when you think about a bankruptcy, you picture someone who's in crisis. But a lot of the people that have come to my office are actually very high income earners with a lot of assets, and we help them use the Bankruptcy Code to their advantage so that they're no longer treading water on a monthly basis. Now, a prime example of a strategic bankruptcy was something that we were doing a lot during the housing crisis several years ago. A lot of people were doing what's called lien stripping. Now, if you're familiar with the way mortgages were structured about 6 or 7 years ago, you'll know that a lot of Americans had loans for their mortgages with first and second mortgages, and then they ended up being upside down in their mortgage. So if you had a first mortgage that was $200,000 and a second mortgage that was maybe $60,000 or $100,000, and then you ended up being underwater, meaning that the value of your home is not does not support your mortgage, what is the best strategy for you to come out with $100,000 in equity later on? So what we did is we did lien stripping, and you're able to do that whenever there's not enough value in the asset or the collateral to support the debt. So, on a monthly basis, we were stripping away hundreds of thousands of dollars of second liens on people's mortgages. So if you were already in a home and you had a car and you were not intending to purchase new assets, the quickest way to automatically reduce your mortgage and get rid of a $100,000 second mortgage was to strip that lien away. So during that time period, a lot of people were using that as a strategic tactic to gain access to more capital. And now, years later, where the market has taken an upturn, you now see a gain in the equity because the lien has been released, and you have been able to take advantage of the growing market. So strategic bankruptcy is what I'm talking about. We need to move away from the taboo and the shame of thinking about a bankruptcy and think about the reasons why wealthy people essentially have terrible credit, because they have been savvy enough to use the rules to their advantage. Okay? The other issue that a lot of people have been using is cram downs. Now, what a cram down is in a bankruptcy, if you are upside down on any type of collateral, we can cram down the amount of debt that you owe if the debt no longer supports, if the collateral no longer supports the debt. It's quite similar to the lien stripping that I was talking about earlier. So for example, if you purchased a vehicle for $20,000 and you've been paying and paying for quite some time, usually the time period that's required by the court is about 910 days for a vehicle. If you've been paying on this vehicle and you cannot make any headway towards reducing the debt, or the interest rate that you're paying is astronomical, why not reduce the interest rate that you can get by filing a bankruptcy and cramming down the debt to the value of the vehicle? I assure you that these creditors that are charging you an arm and a leg for the interest, they are not going to be harmed by these strategic bankruptcies. In fact, it's already built into their accounting systems. We've already seen the massive amount of bailouts that these large corporations are seeing from the government to help them with these so-called losses. Believe me, they are still laughing all the way to the bank. And so because rich people know these rules and because they know how to use them to their advantage, that's why they end up having so much money and so much capital to continue to invest, to continue to grow their businesses. And so for you and I, as the average consumer, we need to know these rules and we need to understand them, and we need to make strategic decisions like the wealthy people do so that we can have more assets as well and guarantee more of our future. So, you know, I just want to leave you with the message that if you are thinking about a bankruptcy, you know, you should not feel shame or any type of fear in the process, because I think that there is a lot of misconception about how a bankruptcy works. I think that there's a lot of fear that you'll lose your house, fear that you lose your vehicles, fear that you'll lose all of the assets that you own, when in reality, that's just not the case. For many of the clients that come into my office, we're able to keep their cars, we're able to keep their homes, and we put them in a much, much better financial position because they are able to reduce their mortgage payment, reduce their car payment, and eliminate a lot of, you know, bad debt. So if you are in that position right now, if you are contemplating a divorce and there is, you know, argument over who's responsible for what debt, you know, take it upon yourselves to at least consult with an attorney so that you're not swimming around in the dark, so that you're not Googling perhaps sometimes inaccurate information before you take that plunge. And I guarantee that at least having the information in front of you will serve you a great deal of good. So again, every week we'll be doing different segments on different legal topics, whether it be criminal, whether it be bankruptcy, immigration, or divorce. And we hope that you continue to join us on these segments because we hope to just share information. We are in the digital age and we want to be as close as possible to our friends and our clients, and we want to remove the fear of talking to an attorney. We try to not be scary, but for some reason there's still that stigma attached to us as well. So thank you all so much for joining me on this Facebook Live segment, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Have a great Wednesday. Thank you. Bye-bye.